A long time ago, when the world was still young, a mysterious island appeared on the navigator's maps. It was called the Lost Island, because no one knew the exact location of the place. Legend said that mysterious and terrible things happened there, and no one who went to this island ever returned. One day, a group of sailors decided to go in search of this island. They sailed for many weeks, weathering storms and dangers, until they finally discovered it. The island was covered with a dense tropical forest, and the ruins of ancient buildings could be seen on the coast. The sailors cautiously landed, but none of them suspected that they were trapped. During the night, strange things began to happen. Someone stealing food and weapons, and the sound of unknown animals coming from the forest. The sailors realized they were not alone on the island, but they did not know who or what was surrounding them. As the days passed, the sailors began to notice that some of them were disappearing. No one knew what was happening to them, but every night eerie screams were heard from the forest. One by one, the mariners died, and no one could understand who was behind these terrible crimes. The remaining mariners understood that they had to leave the island, but they could not find their way back. They discovered that the buildings on the island were an ancient temple, and inside was a map that could help them find their way home. To get to the temple, however, they had to go through a forest where unknown dangers lurked. They found the temple, but were stopped by a mysterious entity who wished them dead. There was a battle that lasted several hours, and the mariners were on the verge of defeat. But then one of them noticed that a map had been drawn on the walls of the temple, which they suspected led to where their boat was. They managed to use the distraction created by one of the mariners to steal the map and escape from the mysterious entity. They advanced through the jungle, trying to ignore the mysterious sounds and movements around them. But in spite of this, some of them disappeared without a trace. The remaining mariners were approaching the spot where their boat had been. But then a new threat awaited them. They saw that many strange creatures, resembling humans, but with eyes that glowed in the darkness, had gathered on the shore. The mariners began a battle with these creatures, and was even more violent than the battle with the mysterious entity in the temple. But finally the mariners were able to overcome all obstacles and reach their boat. They were happy to be able to return home, but they could not forget the horrors they had experienced on the Lost Island. They told their story to anyone who wanted to listen, and many of them tried to avoid the place in the future. But the legends of the Lost Island continued to live and flourish, and many explorers still dreamed of discovering its secrets. However, after the story the mariners told, few were willing to risk their lives to learn the truth about what was happening on this mysterious island.